If you have plenty of checklists before you move abroad, congratulations, you're human. It's totally normal. But what we are here going to tell you today is that there is so much more to moving abroad than checklists, paperwork, bureaucracy, and etc. and all those things. Okay, so bear with us. This is what today we're going to talk about.
Welcome to another episode of the Coffee Talkie Show.
Yes, I hope you have your coffee with you because we're going to start. And we have a question for you.
And be honest for a moment.
It's honesty here. Honesty moments. If you're planning to move abroad, how many checklists do you currently have? Honest moment?
You can share it with us if you want.
Feel free.
Or, to yourself, note it.
But how many checklists and lists and post-its and tabs and Excel sheets and whatever works for you do you currently have for your upcoming move abroad?
And you know what? If you have more than two or three or four or 10,
that's fine.
That's totally fine. Congratulations, you're human. That's totally okay. Checklists are a way for us, to see everything that we need to do. And before we move abroad, we have a lot of things to take care of, and that's totally normal. So if you're a little bit like us, you probably have, let's say, a few of those checklists that you want to check in,
boxes.
Check the boxes and cross things off your list. That's like a given situation, it's helpful. And if you don't have any checklist, you probably need to start doing those, because if it's all in your head, it's going to be messy.
Yeah.
And it's harder to deal with. But whatever works for you, okay? We're talking here about what's working for us, and we really hope it inspires you to do so as well.
So again, as Maayan just said, if you have plenty of checklists before you move abroad, congratulations, you're human. It's totally normal. But what we are here going to tell you today is that there is so much more to moving abroad than checklists, paperwork, bureaucracy, and etc. and all those things. Okay, so bear with us. This is what today we're going to talk about. But first, maybe let's share with you a little story of
personal stories.
On how we dealt with all those massive lists.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm not that tidy when regarding checklist. I have, I started beautifully, on Notepad. I have this to-do things, and then I have a few post-it here and there, and some notes on my phone, and another notebook that I start writing, and it's a little bit all over the place, but it's my system, I know it, and it works for me, okay? You, on the other hand,
I love Excels.
Excel lady.
Lady. Yeah, but I have to tell you, I'm trying to think of myself before my last move, but maybe my last move is not the most appropriate one for this story. I want to take you back 10 years ago to a previous move. We're talking every time about different moves. If you're first listening to us, then you need to understand that we started to move abroad when I was 2 years old. You were only six years old, and we moved plenty of time since. So I want to take you back to my move to London about 12, 13 years ago. And I remember I don't even know if I had Excels back then. I don't think I was that organized.
You probably did.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Maybe I can look for it. I'm excited. It triggers me right now. But I remember sitting for weeks adding things to the list. What else do I need to take care of? And I have to tell you something. I was going away with a couple of friends and my boyfriend at the time, and I felt like I need to take care of everyone else in addition to myself, because they were like, how will you move to London if you're so disorganized? Like, in my head, it was like impossible to move without a checklist.
Yeah.
So I had those massive lists that I would add things to every single day, and I will do background research on where do I want to go, which bank do I want to go, so I will know as soon as I arrive where am I going. And I had lists. So I had lists for bureaucracy, I had lists for apartments, I had lists for clothes, which clothes do I take, and then I realized that I'm only going with one suitcase and nothing fits inside this suitcase. And what do I need for my studies, and what do I need for my work, and what do I need for the kitchen? It was the first time I had to take care of a kitchen, and I had nothing because I left at my parents' place before.
Do you remember I bought you pasta?
Yes!
As a goodbye present, I bought her spaghetti.
She knows me so well. So I had all those checklists, but guess what? They made me so overwhelmed and so stressed. And the reason why is that every time, I really remember it as if it was yesterday, I would look at the checklist and be like, but what have you done this week? Like, you didn't cross any of these out. You're just adding more and more and more, because things kept coming to my head, or I would read about it, or I would talk to somebody that has done something that I didn't thought about it, and I would add more and more and more things to this list. And I remember that the anxiety and the stress and the overwhelm just kept floating in, and I was like, but how on earth will I be able to take care of all those things?
And I think the thing is with this kind of checklist is usually the things that you have on them are things that you have to take care of, need to take care of,
want to take care of,
things that are, you know, also for someone else. None of those usually, you know, from where we know and hear and
our own experience,
usually none of those things on those checklists is about you.
I even want to, like, just to finish my story and tell you something, and that's why we said before there was so much more to move abroad than checklists, because I have to tell you, I found my checklist 7-8 months after I moved abroad, and I looked at them and I was like, yeah, well, I haven't crossed maybe 60% out of it wasn't done, wasn't taken care of, and I lived an okay life in London. I had like my challenges and my stuff, but it wasn't challenges from this list. It's not because I haven't took care of something from the list that things gone bad. I just took care of things as I went through them. It's good that I needed to know some of them, but the stress that it caused me before could have been changed. And we'll get to this later on this episode. What have I done before my last move? But maybe you share another story.
It's a bit of a paradox, you know, because checklists are supposed to help us get more organized, you know, see in front of us everything that we need to do. And it is helpful, you know, because like I said before, when it's all in your head, it's messy and you forget things, and then you arrive and you go, oh my God, how have I not done this? But on the other hand, what it does is when you see this list and you're like, oh my God, how on earth am I going to do everything here on this list? It's so overwhelming when you're seeing it. And maybe you feel it as well right now, or you felt it before. And it's hard, you know, so it's a paradox. And like everything in life, and we say it so often, it's about finding the right balance that works for you, you know. If those checklists are helpful to you, do them, but don't let them take control on your life and your move, because they're only checklists, and you can decide to now cross something that you don't want to deal with right now, okay, and move it to another list.
We're gonna tell you about it even more in a minute, the not to do list, okay?
Yeah.
It's an amazing tool that we discovered. But
yes, absolutely. You know, I once had this app, you know, 10 years ago, I think, at the very beginning of the smartphones. I had this app of to do tomorrow, like cross things off your list of today, then you can do tomorrow, and it's not important right now. And I think the thing about checklist, okay, is understanding what's really important to do now, Okay, what is beneficial to you to do now, and what has to be done at some point, you know.
You will do it.
You will do it eventually, okay? But is it beneficial to you right now when you're listening to us? The things that are on your list, okay? And it's very personal, you know.
Yes.
We each have different things that are important to us. You know, for some of you, on your checklist before you move abroad, you will having a farewell party, you know, saying goodbye to all the people that you want to say goodbye to. For me, it wasn't very important, you know. I said, cheers. I'll see you next year. I don't know, maybe. I'm going to talk to you tomorrow on the phone. Let's not make a big deal out of it. Okay? It wasn't on my checklist. What I did have on my checklist, for example, sharing personal things here. Before the last move, I had things regarding my kids, you know, register girls to school, trying to understand the health system, how does it work, what do I need to do. And you know, I'm not very tidy, as I said before. I'm writing sentences, understand health care system. And when you understand it, it's a whole new checklist that comes with it, okay? Because you need to apply for this, apply for this, ask for this card, ask for this insurance, talk to this doctor, blah, blah, blah. And okay, so I said to myself, I'm gonna figure this out. At a point, I need to do that sometimes around my move. But actually, what I want to share with you is, at this point of my life, you know, after moving a lot and having lots of checklists
and throwing them away,
all kind of checklists, because you know, when I first moved out of my parents' house, you know, when I was 18, I moved alone from France to Israel, went to the army, okay, and I was like, yeah, I can do this by myself. I can make my own checklist. What do I need? I told it before, I need my guitar, even though I don't play guitar, my guitar, my CDs, some clothes, that's it. And my mom was like, well, what are you doing about your health insurance? I'm like, I don't need that on my list. What are you doing about an apartment? Do you need an apartment? Yeah, I'll figure it out. You know, I'm gonna crash with some friend, you know. Do you need a job? No, I'll figure it out, you know. And this was me at 18. Okay, I arrived. Luckily for me, my mom had her own checklist for me and helped me a lot. And I arrived and still like, okay, not planned as well. Now I need to do a lot of things. New checklist. I need this and this and that. And did that. So the move after it, I already had my checklist a bit longer, you know. But to make a long story short, this move, what I had on my list, as I said before, things regarding my girls, some bureaucracy, you know. How do I make my husband legal in France? Because we have
French citizenship. Oh, it's a hard word.
I was going to say passport. It's so much easier. And so I had some bureaucracy things to deal with. And honestly, we only dealt with them a year after. Okay? Only taken care of a year after. And guess what? We're still here. We're alive. Everything is okay. I'm not saying it's not challenging, but you don't have to cross everything on your list before your move.
And not in the first month since your move. Like, there are things that are going to take time. And you know, when you are understanding that those things are going to take time, well, they can be on your list without stressing you out.
Yeah.
You will take care of them. You will figure them out at some point, eventually. But it will come naturally as you go along, and not with a, oh my God, I haven't done this yet. How am I gonna do? Do I need this? Do I need that?
Yeah.
And then it's not helpful.
So I think the point here of this session today is find the essential things on your checklist.
Yes.
Okay, circle them. You can mark them. You can, if it's on your computer, copy paste it to another essential list.
Yeah.
Okay, and don't make your essential list, longer than the first one.
And I want to invite you to try something that is a bit different than what maybe you've heard before. But bear with me. Try and make an essential list that you believe is essential for you, for your life situation. Things that matter to you now, that are important to you right now, no matter where you live, are gonna be important for you where you're going to. Think of yourself. Don't go online and look for, what do I need to take care of if I'm moving to England? What do I need to know if I'm moving to Netherlands? What do I need to do if I'm moving to Colombia? Don't do that, because those checklists are of everyone else's, and they might have some stuff that are important for you, but you know yourself best. You know what's really, really important for you. And guess what? All those other things on other people's checklist and other things you will have to take care of, you will soon figure it out that you need to take care of them, or that you want to take care of them, or that how to take care of them. But some of those things, you will find them 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months after you moved abroad, because they were not the most essential things for your day-to-day living. So ask yourself. Again, I trust you. You should trust yourself as well.
Imagine for a moment that you're sitting on the plane right now. You packed everything, sent everything off. You're on the plane right now, ready for your new journey. You could feel, stressed and overwhelmed and, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this. What have I done? I have so many other things to deal with. Or you could, lay back, say to yourself, I did everything I needed to do. I got everything that is important to me settled in. And I'll figure everything else, with time. I trust myself. I can do this. I got this. I know I can. Okay? And for us, the second option is the best one. I don't know about you,
It's what works best for us, that's for sure.
Maybe you say to yourself right now, yeah, that's nice, ladies, but I can't do this. I'm not this kind of person. Well, let me tell you,
you are this
kind of person. I wasn't this kind of person before. The amount of times I went on a plane crying like a baby without having a baby.
Like a baby? You're nice with yourself. like a
crazy
person.
lady, and feeling so stressed and overwhelmed, but by the steps that I took is I can't even count, the amount of times I did that. Okay.
I cannot even count the amount of times I needed you or mom or someone else physically pushing me on the airplane. You wanted to do this, and I was like, yeah, but I don't want anymore. And physically pushing me and saying to myself, I feel like a celebrity sitting with my sunglasses in an airplane just so that no one will see that I'm literally crying right now. And it's stress and overwhelm and anxiety and frustration and doubt and questions and everything comes together. And there is this moment where the plane takes off and you're like, okay, but now what? I've done everything, but now what? I still have so many things. So what we're inviting you to do, there is another way.
Yes.
There is another way. And we shared a little bit in the beginning, but we'll share again. We both recently moved again. For the millionth time, we both moved again, and this time it was completely different. And I gotta tell you, I moved during COVID.
Me too.
True. Beginning of COVID, a year after lockdowns, right? This is the difference between us. I didn't have a vaccine when I moved. I didn't have the COVID test when I flew this time. Crazy times. But we both had all the right ingredients to be completely freaked out about our move, because let's face it, it was a crazy time in the world. but moving in this time of uncertainty was definitely a challenging decision. And we had so many things to take care of. You moved for the first time with a husband and kids. I moved again single, but it was the first time I had so many stuff. Like I had belongings that I never had before. So we had to take care of a lot of things, and I didn't know where to go. You didn't either. We didn't had a housing situation before. We didn't knew what job we're gonna do. We didn't know. We had all the right reasons to be completely freaked out. But you know what? I really remember two situations. The first situation is me getting inside the airport to an empty airport because there was no one at the airport when I flew, and telling myself, you're actually doing it. You wanted to do it for a while. You're actually doing it. Well done. And the second moment, a little bit funnier, is when I arrived to Paris. The flight went smoothly and amazingly, and I remember I was kind of alone in the airplane, and it was a great flight. And I remember landing in Paris. I had 8 25-kilo suitcases, and there was literally no one at the airport. And I was like, I can do this. I can do everything. You know, my confidence level was so high because I prepared myself before my move to actually be like, I'll deal with whatever comes. Bring it on. I know it will come. I know challenges will arrive. I know I'll have to deal with a lot of things, because guess what? I had this checklist that I didn't take care of 95% of it, knowing I will take care of it when times come. So I remember going outside of the airport, looking at those two like piles of suitcases and be like, sleeves on, if you're watching me, and let's do this. And I pushed those 8 suitcases by myself outside, and I felt so good about myself because it was my move, my decision, my actions, my well-being, my mental state. Everything was on point. And at that time, it was exactly 2 years ago, like September 2020. I knew it's gonna be a great journey. I knew that because I arrived ready to everything that is gonna come. And the only way you can do that is that, as we said in the beginning, there is so much more to moving abroad than your checklists and your paperwork and your to-do lists and your post-its and your Excels. Even if you're like me and you love them, there's so much more to it.
Yeah. And I want to, challenge you a little bit. Ask yourself right now, and maybe write it down. What is the most important thing to you to take care of before you move? Choose, 3, 5. Don't make it 100, okay? The most important thing to you, And I want to challenge you maybe even more. Could you maybe, just for once, add in this very most important thing to take care of? Put yourself in the top of the list. Put yourself on this checklist that you have. Take care of yourself. Take care of your confidence, of your well-being. Take care of how you feel about this move. Do you really know what do you want from this move? What are you expecting? What is your reason for this move? Yeah. Do you know all of this?
Be honest with yourself.
And if not, put on your checklist, time for myself to figure this move out. Why am I doing this? What am I expecting from this? Okay, this is so important, because if you have this, figure it out, when you're sitting on the plane, even though you don't have a visa, you'll be okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and true story, my husband, he came without a visa.
And he was okay. He still is.
It's still amazing, He got his visa now, but he came without a visa. And he always say to me, in this move, and every time we travel as well, he said to me, like, why are you, doing checklists for packing things for a week of vacation? And I'm like, well, yeah, it helps me get organized, and not forget and everything. And he always asks me, and if you forget something, what could happen? Okay, what is the one thing that if you forget, this is a big deal? And I'm like, my passport. So, okay, so take your passport. What else? And I'm like, well, nothing actually, because if I have my passport, I have my credit card. If I forget something else, I'll figure it out, I'll find a solution. Okay.
I want to share with you something really funny that I saw on Instagram. I think 2 days ago, someone gives like traveling tips, and she said, like, she was talking about the safe in hotels room that everyone puts their like jewelries and passports and credit cards and stuff and then forget about it. Apparently in the US and in Europe as well, like 70% of people forget their stuff in the safe. And she was like, I'm gonna give you a tip. Whenever you come in the hotel, you put your precious stuff in the safe and you put your travel shoes inside. Your one shoe. Because you will always forget your passport and you will always forget your credit card, but you will not travel with one shoe. You will look at yourself and be like, something's missing. So I loved it because I listened to it and I was like, oh my God, it's hilarious. But it's so true. Yeah. We tend to have those lists of, do I have this and do I have this and do I have that? And then you arrive to the airport and you're like, what am I missing? Remember we flew to the US and you didn't have your passport?
Yes. That's when he started to ask me before packing, what is the most important thing you need to have? Your passport. Everything else is optional, okay?
So again, like, if we come back to moving abroad, there is so many things you can take care of, you maybe should take care of, but guess what? Even if you don't, it's important that you know that at some point you will have to. But even if you don't, and even if right now, as Maayan said and invited you, even if right now, 90% of your time, what you're doing is asking yourself the questions. Why are you moving? Building your confidence, building your resiliency, making sure you treat yourself the way you deserve, and fitting in this amazing woman that you are with greatness and bravery, because you're going on an adventure that you will need this. If you take care of this right now, guess what? All the rest, you will figure it out and you will be fine. I can put money on the table on that. That's how much I believe in it, because you can do everything you set your mind to. It might take a little longer. You might have bigger bumps on the road. You might have bigger walls to climb, but you will still do this. There's nothing you won't be able to do, because you will feel that you are there for the right reasons, that you know your worth, you know your value, and you know you're capable. And that's the most important things before any move.
That's what we believe, and that's what works for us and made our moves, we moved not together, but both our moves went so smooth, because we knew why we're here. We worked on our confidence, it was on the top of our list, to know that we can do this, to believe in all of our heart and body that we can make it work. Whatever comes, we can make it work. And it's not important, if we have a bank account yet, or an apartment, or if I have my girls, registered to a sport activity, or how am I going to meet new friends, or how am I going to find a doctor to get some,
vaccines.
Yeah. Those things, we're not saying that they're not important. They are important. But what we say is find what's the most important thing. Learn to prioritize your list. Okay, not everything on your list is as important as the others. Okay, it's not equally important.
Yeah, and when everything is all together and mixed up, it's really hard to see what's the priorities. So if I have to sum up, like, what we're inviting you to do today. The first thing is be totally honest with yourself. The second thing would be take a look at your lists.
All of them. Post-it notes on the phone.
Mix them together. Come back and be like, bring everything to one table right now. Okay? Where are you on those lists? If you're not somewhere in there, add them. Add it, add yourself, your well-being, your mental state, your emotions. Take care of all of that so you can deal with everything else.
Yeah.
And the third thing, create a short list. Put all the big lists and long lists and everything else inside an envelope, a box, a drawer, whatever, a suitcase, whatever. You're gonna come back to those. But for now, have a super short list of what is essential to you, your family, your close one, the one that you're moving with. Okay? Only that. Not what's written on the internet, not what we're telling you here, not everything. You have to have on your list what's essential for you and take care only of that right now. And you know what? Once you finish all that, if you still haven't moved,
create another
list. But for now, create a short list.
Something that is not overwhelming to you when you're sitting. You look at your list and you can say, yeah, I can do it with it. Totally fine, and that's how you build confidence. Okay, you have a list, you look at it, you say, hey, I can do that. You cross things out and you say, oh my god, I did everything on my list. Next thing, okay, next list, I can do this. I'm working on my confidence because I really, we all do.
Together.
We need this confidence. Life abroad is full of challenges. You probably heard it before. We're not going to keep it as a secret. Life abroad is challenging. It can get really stressful. But when you work on your confidence and you feel in all your body, like, I got this. I believe I can do it. I believe I can deal with everything, because right now you have a list, but after you move, you'll have another list, okay? Lists of lists, and the list of the list and the lists. And the more you're ready, mentally, emotionally for it, and the more you're confident in, your belief that you can actually pull it off, the better you'll deal with everything.
Yeah.
So that's what we invite you to do today. And, feel free to share with us. You can always write us emails or comment here on Facebook or on YouTube or wherever you're listening or watching us. We really want to help you, so share with us your experiences. Share with us, what's essential on your list, okay? Yeah. What are you dealing with? What do you find maybe harder to deal with? We'll be happy to help you.
Yeah, so share with us your lists on the comments, on the emails, on Instagram, whatever you feel like it. And we promise to give you a personalized, either Maayan or I, we're going to personally get back to you and help you shrink this list to something you can actually win and celebrate and be like, yay, I've done it. Now bring another list. Because this is how you keep going and this is how you create a smooth and joyful move abroad.
Yes, absolutely. And if you want to hear some more of what we have to say about moving abroad, so don't forget to follow us on Instagram and subscribe also to the YouTube channel
or podcast or whatever, wherever you feel like listening to us, we're there. We promise. So follow us on Instagram. That's where we share the most of our content, and we're always there. So literally, like, whenever you're gonna message us, we're going to respond.
Yes, absolutely. So have an amazing day, and thank you for watching us and trusting us. And we'll see you there next time.
Yes. Have a nice day.
Bye.